Hard times had fallen across the nation. Few people ventured outside to shop, and fewer still ventured into shops to sell things to those who had ventured out to buy them. The nation was divided politically, and a sense of stagnation had befallen everyone. Everything would change when one man would arrive and change everything.
There's a story that I love about, it takes place in late 2011, right before the great events of that year, where a man goes to a grocery store and he wants to buy ham, but he doesn't have the money to buy ham, so he goes to another man there in the grocery store and says, "Sir, can you help me buy this ham?" He thinks that man looks like he could maybe afford more ham, and the man says no. And I think that really captures the spirit of where America was in the late part of 2011, as they struggled to find themselves a hero, somebody who could bring together an American narrative around these competing forces, East and West, North and South, rich and poor. They needed someone that they could find who could be the center of that story.
That man was a man named David Dodson. Not much is known about his early years. We all know that he enjoyed bagels. Beyond that, there's little to know. He was a nobody in downtown Boulder, having locks by day and poppy seed by night. But over time, he came to realize that there was something wrong with the world and he could maybe be the one to change it.
Dave Dodson was an everyman, but he was an everyman armed with paper, pens, and an attitude. And it turns out that's all it took to change the world. Armed with these few things, he had an idea of what to do, but not an idea of where to go. But then he thought to himself, Wall Street. But he fell victim to a very common problem of that era. He knew how to use an iPhone, but he didn't have a lot of common sense. When he typed "One Wall Street" into his iPhone, he was not directed to the center of global finance. Instead, he was directed to a field at the corner of Country Road 118 and 4 Mile Canyon Drive.
I showed up in that field with my sign that I had made with my markers, and I started getting the word out. I told people that what was going on was not something that should be going on, and that things should go on that weren't going on. And people joined with me and agreed that, yes, things going on could change and be different in the future. And I told people, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Dave Dodson, October 9th, 2011.
It turns out, hell was madder than him.
Millennia ago, the ancient Mayans prophesied that the world would end in a giant cataclysm and would wipe the humans off face of the earth. They expected that to happen in the year 2012. Empirical evidence would suggest that we were off by about a year. Whatever the proclamations, nobody really expects the apocalypse. First was the hellfire and the brimstone coming down on the protests across the world. Next it was gremlins coming up from the ground, ogres coming from behind the rocks around, trees swallowing bicycles. Society came to a quick and angry end.
No one really knows why the apocalypse started, but there are many theories. Some blamed the protesters, others blamed the establishment, but no one really blamed anyone for very long.
People have a lot of opinions about David Dodson. My personal belief is that he accomplished everything that he set out to do. Because in the end, when you think about it, when we were all together floating as atoms through the cosmos, there was no more difference between East and West, or North and South, or rich and poor. And after all, what is truly more American than the nuclear family?